You must learn the rarest skill known to man, the ability to remain calm while the world burns around you. Great men and women are not remembered because they shouted the loudest. They are remembered because they stood tallest when silence was most powerful. Do you know what separates a leader from a follower? It's not education, not talent, not money. It's the ability to control one's emotional state, especially when provoked. Think of Andrew Carnegie, a man whose wealth didn't just build steel empires, it built men. He chose his protégés based not on IQ, but on emotional stability under pressure. He once tested a young executive by intentionally giving him false information just to watch his reaction. The young man didn't flinch, he didn't lash out, he didn't question. He calmly verified the data, corrected the mistake without complaint, and delivered results. That man became one of Carnegie's top advisors. Why? Because Carnegie knew this truth. The man who is unbothered cannot be controlled. If someone can make you angry, they own you. If they can make you afraid, they lead you. If they can make you doubt, they weaken you. But what if they can't move you at all? What if the enemy strikes and you smile? What if the doubters mock you and you move forward anyway? The world does not prepare you for this kind of power. It teaches you to react, to be offended, to explain yourself to people who don't even understand your destiny. Let me make it plain. Those who master calmness master life. You don't act unbothered because you don't care. You act unbothered because you're focused, because you know who you are, because while they're gossiping, you're building. While they're watching, you're walking, because nothing weakens your faith, nothing shakes your mission, nothing steals your energy. The battle isn't out there. It's in here, in your emotions, your impulses, your reactions. And if you can learn to sit still in a storm, you will learn how to summon power in peace. But to develop that kind of calm, you must want it with everything in you. Let's talk about desire. Here is the law. You get what you want most. And if you want revenge more than peace, you'll get revenge and lose yourself in the process. If you want validation more than growth, you'll get attention, but not transformation. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. But if your desire is not disciplined, it becomes your destruction. So I ask you, what do you truly want? When Thomas Edison was ridiculed for failing over 10,000 times to invent the electric light, did he seek revenge? Number. He desired something greater than being right. He desired to bring light to the world. That's the key. When your desire is for impact, not ego. For peace, not pettiness. For power, not performance. You move different. People will say things to provoke you. They want to distract you from your path. They want you to take the bait, to fight small battles so you never win the war. Don't give them the satisfaction. The man who acts as if nothing bothers him is not dead inside. He is alive with purpose. He has burned every lesser desire in the fire of a higher one. And when desire becomes that intense, that consuming, that focused, you begin to train your emotions like a general trains soldiers. You do not react. You respond strategically, calmly, powerfully. You let nothing break your inner state, because you are not trying to win arguments. You are trying to build empires. You are not trying to be seen. You are becoming someone who can never be ignored. What you desire must become so great that the opinions of others become irrelevant. This is not about pretending to be unaffected. This is about becoming so spiritually and mentally fortified that even if you feel the attack, you do not flinch. There is no enemy louder than your vision, no betrayal greater than abandoning your peace, and no amount of noise can shake a man whose desire is anchored in purpose. Now, if you want this kind of power, you must do more than want it. You must believe it's already yours. So let us now talk about the foundation of all power. Let us talk about faith. You cannot act unbothered if you do not first believe, with all your soul, that everything will work in your favor. Faith is not a weak word. It is the greatest force on earth. It turns dreams into plans, plans into action, and action into miracles. Henry Ford was mocked, dismissed, told his idea of a gasoline engine was foolish, that it would never replace horses. Do you know what he did? He believed in it so deeply, he demanded his engineers create the impossible. When they said, "It can't be done," he replied, "Do it anyway." That is faith. And you must build the same kind of unshakable belief in yourself, in your power, in your calling, in your mission. The reason most people react emotionally is simple. They doubt. They doubt their worth, their path, their future. And doubt makes you unstable, uncertain, vulnerable to every insult, every whisper, every sideways glance. But faith anchors you. It makes you calm when they attack you. It makes you confident when they ignore you. It makes you dangerous when they expect you to quit. When you walk with faith, you no longer need the world to understand you. You no longer beg people to believe in you, because you've already seen it in your mind, and that is enough. Understand this: what you believe, you begin to embody. If you believe you are untouchable, your posture changes. If you believe you are chosen, your energy shifts. If you believe no one can stop what's coming, they can't. Acting unbothered becomes easy when you know that nothing can block what's already been ordained. So walk in faith, speak from faith, respond with faith. Not arrogance, not apathy, but certainty. Let them talk, let them guess, let them stare. You already know where you're going. And while they waste time on what you're doing, you're building what they'll never understand. But faith must be fueled daily, deliberately, diligently. How? Through repetition, through the language you speak to your own soul. It is time to program your mind to believe the unshakable truth through the power of autosuggestion. Your mind is a garden. What you plant, you grow. What you water, you harvest. Every thought you repeat becomes a seed in the soil of your subconscious. And if you do not plant calm, the world will sow chaos for you. Autosuggestion is not a trick. It is self-command. It is the conscious act of speaking into your spirit until your mind must obey. When Émile Coué, a French psychologist, taught his patients to repeat, "Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better," he wasn't offering wishful thinking. He was teaching a formula for internal transformation. Your subconscious cannot resist repetition. It absorbs whatever is frequent and emotionally charged. So let me ask you, what do you say to yourself when no one is listening? Do you rehearse defeat? Do you repeat fear? Do you relive offenses in your mind, letting your enemies live rent-free in your spirit? Or do you rise every day and declare, "I am calm, I am immovable, I am focused, I am unbothered"? You don't need external peace to experience internal peace. You just need to hear yourself speak it enough. Every morning, stand before your mirror and become the commander of your emotional army. Declare your intentions, direct your focus, repeat your truths, because in a world full of noise, you must learn to become your own voice of power. The moment you do this daily, not once, not when it's convenient, but daily, you begin to reprogram your entire nervous system. You stop reacting, you start responding, you stop fearing, you start expecting. You become the man who walks into chaos and feels nothing but clarity. You become the woman who hears the insult and thinks only of legacy. Every thought you repeat is either a hammer or a chisel. It builds you up or chips you down. Say it with me now. No person, no situation, no pressure can control me. Say it until your voice shakes. Say it until your soul wakes. Say it until your mind obeys. For the world will not whisper peace into your ear. You must shout it into your spirit. But your voice must be backed by knowledge. Specialized knowledge. The kind of knowledge that reveals the root of every emotional crack. Let's dig deeper now into the power of knowing what triggers you. You cannot conquer what you won't confront.
and you cannot act unbothered by what you haven't yet understood. Most people are emotional time bombs. Why? Because they're walking around with triggers they've never examined. Someone criticizes them, and they explode. Someone forgets them, and they spiral. Someone wins before them, and they shrink. That's not power. That's programming. And the antidote is specialized knowledge, not just of the world, but of your own emotional architecture. Let me be plain. You must become a student of your own soul. Every time you overreact, there's a file inside your mind that's been left unexamined. A memory, a belief, a wound, and it's ruling you from the shadows. But when you bring light to it, you take away its power. You stop saying, "They made me feel that way." You start asking, "Why did I allow it?" That shift from blame to blueprint is where emotional invincibility is born. Henry Ford knew this. He wasn't just a manufacturer. He was a master of cause and effect. He studied every failure, not to assign blame, but to extract insight. Do you study your emotions like Ford studied engines? Do you know what environments drain you? What conversations trigger you? What insecurities bait you? If you do not know these things, how can you remain calm when pressure rises? This is not weakness. It is warfare intelligence. Your triggers are not flaws. They are flags pointing toward your next breakthrough. The person who acts as if nothing bothers them has done the deepest internal homework. They've interrogated their inner world. They've mapped out every mental shortcut. They've turned their emotional blind spots into battle plans. And because they know themselves, they cannot be caught off guard. Knowledge is power, and the most powerful knowledge is self-knowledge. So get to know yourself so well that no one else's version of you can ever matter, because once you do, you stop being reactive and you become visionary.
And what does a visionary use to stay 2 steps ahead? Imagination. Let us now open the gate to the greatest mental force ever gifted to man. Imagination is not child's play, it is creation in motion. Everything that exists began in the invisible realm. Every building, every invention, every fortune. The calm you admire in others? It was imagined long before it was lived. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you are not pretending. You are rehearsing your future identity. You are stepping into a version of yourself that already exists inside your mind. Napoleon Bonaparte was once asked how he remained calm in battle. His answer: "I see the victory before I step onto the field." That's imagination, that's emotional foresight. So what do you see when pressure hits? Do you see yourself crumbling or conquering? Close your eyes, see yourself in the fire, unmoved. See the insults come and bounce off your spirit like dust. See the setback arrive and your hands still building. You must mentally rehearse emotional control before life demands it, because life will demand it. When a surgeon performs a life-saving operation, he's not improvising. He's executing what he's rehearsed in his mind 100 times before. His calmness comes from familiarity. The same is true for you. If you've seen yourself win in your mind, you will not panic when the test comes. And here's the key. Emotion intensifies imagination. If you can feel the calm now, you can live it later. Don't just see the version of you who is unbothered. Feel it. Hear how they speak. Watch how they move. Notice how the world slows down when they walk in. You must be so clear in your vision that reality begins to mirror it. Use imagination like a paintbrush and your mind like a canvas. Sketch the person who is no longer a slave to reaction. Draw the leader who doesn't flinch. Shape the soul that answers conflict with silence and power. And when you do this daily, when it becomes a ritual, you begin to move with unshakable grace, with stillness that cannot be faked, with power that needs no announcement. But imagination alone is not enough. You must act on it. You must decide to become what you have envisioned. And so now we move from vision to decision. Are you ready? Indecision is the silent assassin of peace. Every time you hesitate between who you used to be and who you're becoming, you fracture your power. You must decide once and for all that peace is more profitable than being right. That stillness is more powerful than screaming. That clarity is more commanding than chaos. Every day you are making a decision to rise or react, to master or be mastered, to walk with purpose or stumble through petty wars. Think of Abraham Lincoln surrounded by mockery, treachery, division. He was insulted by his own cabinet, ridiculed by his enemies, and under unrelenting pressure. And yet his greatness came not from how loud he roared, but from how silently he stood. He decided to lead with resolve, not retaliation. And that decision changed a nation. What if you decided to become a fortress instead of a fighter? What if you chose to protect your energy instead of proving your point? Make this decision today. I do not need to engage with every insult. I do not need to answer every fool. I do not need to react to every inconvenience. I choose peace over performance. The world will tempt you. It will send drama dressed as opportunity. It will send chaos wearing the face of justice. But you must not bite the bait. You are not everyone. You are becoming someone rare, someone unmoved by noise. The moment you decide this, truly, finally, a shift happens in your mind. You no longer need to rehearse conversations in your head. You no longer carry grudges as shields. You no longer flinch when attacked. You walk through fire like it's fog. And don't be surprised if the world resists your stillness. People are addicted to drama. They will test your peace. But you are done giving discounts on your dignity. This isn't passivity. This is strategy. And every day, you reinforce that decision with one virtue: persistence. Mastery is not a one-time act. It's a habit. It's the decision to keep your power, especially when it's hard. Anyone can act unbothered for a moment, but to remain composed under pressure repeatedly requires spiritual stamina. And that, my friend, is called persistence. Thomas Edison didn't fail 10,000 times. He practiced 10,000 ways to respond to failure until he owned it. That's the same muscle you must build with your emotions. Every time you choose not to react, every time you sit in silence instead of screaming, every time you stay focused when chaos rings, you are lifting the weight of mastery. And over time, that emotional strength becomes permanent. But here's the truth. It will hurt at first. Your ego will beg you to respond. Your old patterns will scream for attention. Your wounded inner voice will whisper, "Defend yourself. Don't let them win." But persistence doesn't negotiate with old identities. It burns them. You must practice not reacting until it becomes your instinct, not because you're weak, but because you've become immune to anything beneath your destiny. Let them misunderstand you. Let them misquote you. Let them underestimate you. The noise will never destroy what God built in silence. The people you admire, the calm ones, the graceful ones, they weren't born that way. They forged it. Through fire, through trial, through self-denial. You must keep choosing restraint when the world offers reaction. You must keep choosing purpose when the world offers distraction. You must keep choosing your vision when your emotions want validation. Every reaction you withhold is a deposit into your spiritual wealth. And over time, that interest compounds into unshakable power. So don't just try, train. Don't just hope, harden. Persistence is the price for power. And you're not paying it for applause. You're paying it for freedom. But persistence is not meant to be walked alone. The path is strengthened by the company you keep. And now we speak of that secret alliance, the mastermind. If you sit with people who feed drama, you will breathe in conflict like air. If you walk with people who panic under pressure, their fear becomes your default. But when you align with souls who move in silence, who build with precision, who remain unmoved by storms, you become like them. This is the law of the mastermind. No one rises alone. Even the greats had allies. Carnegie had Schwab. Ford had Edison. Lincoln had Seward. Behind every calm leader was a circle of inner warriors. Not warriors with swords, but with minds sharpened by self-control. You must surround yourself with emotional giants, people who won't indulge your weakness, people who hold you to your highest vision, people who've tasted pressure and remained poised. Ask yourself now, do your conversations elevate or agitate you? Do your friends promote your peace or provoke your reaction? You cannot act unbothered if you constantly absorb the anxieties of those around you. Energy is contagious, and so is chaos. So choose your inner circle like a general selects his advisors, not for flattery, not for company, but for wisdom, for discipline, for alignment. Your mastermind is not just support. It is a multiplying force. It fuels your persistence. It sharpens your decisions. It keeps your emotional compass pointed toward power. Because when you falter, and you will, they remind you who you are. When you want to react, they help you rise instead. This is not about being perfect. It's about staying accountable to the calm you committed to. So build your circle, test them, watch them. Do they crumble when criticized? Do they gossip when threatened? Or do they stand still, speak light, and move mountains without noise? Your power is found in your people. Choose wisely, because when your mind is fed the right fuel, it doesn't just behave differently, it transforms. And the transformation becomes permanent when it moves from the conscious to the subconscious. Let us go even deeper now, into the root level of your reality. You may control your speech, you may discipline your thoughts, but until you rewire your subconscious, you are only managing symptoms. The real battle is in the shadows, where beliefs are buried and reflexes are born. The subconscious mind is the silent builder of every reaction. It doesn't argue, it doesn't negotiate, it simply delivers whatever it has been fed, repeatedly and emotionally. If you've spent years reacting with anger, fear, insecurity, those emotions are etched into your nervous system. They don't need permission to surface. They've been automated. And the only way to overwrite those reactions is to reprogram them deliberately. This is not a surface task. It is a process of emotional surgery. You must replace every reactive pattern with a higher command. For every insult, install silence. For every threat, install composure. For every temptation to panic, install perspective. Imagine your subconscious as a vault. For years, people have been breaking in without your awareness, leaving behind false beliefs. You're not enough. You must defend yourself. If you don't react, you'll look weak. But those were never your truths. They were downloads from wounded people, traumatic moments, careless voices. Now, it's your turn to change the code. How? Through daily spiritual programming. Every morning, feed your mind with words that align with the future you. Speak peace until peace is your language. Speak strength until strength is your posture. Speak control until control becomes automatic. The subconscious is your servant, but it only obeys the emotionally charged and repeated. So repeat wisely, repeat powerfully, repeat intentionally. You are not training for a moment. You are transforming for a lifetime. But even with all this programming, there is a higher voice, one that whispers from beyond logic, from beyond practice. It's the divine spark within you that knows without knowing. And it's time you listen. Let's now unlock the final door, the sixth sense. When all else fails, when the noise is too loud, when reason feels weak, the sixth sense speaks. It's the inner whisper that says, wait. the sudden knowing that says don't respond, the silent nudge that says this battle isn't yours. You may call it intuition, you may call it divine guidance. Napoleon Hill called it the apex of spiritual development. It is not built through noise, it is born in stillness. And that's why the man who is always talking, always reacting, always defending, misses it. The sixth sense cannot speak over your fear. It does not compete with your ego. It only enters the mind that has become a sanctuary, still, focused, open. Think of Joan of Arc, a teenage girl who led armies by divine vision, while kings doubted her. She had no title, no education, only one thing: she listened. And she trusted the voice no one else could hear. That voice led her to victory. That voice made her immortal. What if your next breakthrough isn't in the books you read, the people you call, the logic you list? What if it's already in you, waiting for permission? Your sixth sense guides you toward the higher road, the calmer road, the path of restraint, not reaction, of destiny, not distraction. But you must clear the clutter, silence the noise. You must trust that quiet doesn't mean absence, it means alignment. Your intuition has been trying to teach you. You don't need to argue. You don't need to correct everyone. You don't need to lower yourself to be understood. Sometimes the wisest move is stillness. Sometimes power is found not in the answer, but in the wait. The sixth sense aligns you with perfect timing, perfect responses, perfect outcomes, but it only flows through a channel that is free of fear. And that's the final enemy. Let's expose it now. Let's destroy fear once and for all. Every reaction, every emotional spiral, every impulsive move is rooted in one thing: fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of being seen as weak, fear of not being in control. But let me make it clear, fear is a fraud. It shows up with a megaphone and disappears when you stare it down. Your reactions are not strength. They are symptoms of unhealed fear. The moment you face that, you take your power back. You were not born to explain yourself to critics. You were not born to fight every battle that invites you. You were not born to react. You were born to rule. But that power is unlocked only when fear no longer runs the show. So confront it. Write it down. Call it out. What are you really afraid of? Being misunderstood? Good. The great always are. Losing people? If they left when you became powerful, they were never aligned. Looking weak? Strength is quiet. Insecurity is loud. The moment you drop the need to be liked, praised, defended, you become untouchable. You don't just act unbothered. You become unbothered because nothing external can threaten what's unshakable within. And now, you are ready. You've learned to train your thoughts. You've chosen your peace. You've persisted when others collapsed. You've built the right environment. You've reprogrammed your subconscious. You've heard your divine guidance. You've crushed fear under your feet. And now I challenge you. Act today as if nothing bothers you. Because if you do it today, you can do it again tomorrow. And if you do it tomorrow, it becomes who you are. You are no longer the person who reacts. You are the person who rises. You do not explain your strength. You embody it. So go. Walk into your next moment with stillness in your eyes, silence in your mouth, and fire in your spirit. You don't owe the world a reaction. You owe yourself the destiny that reaction would delay. Act unbothered. Live unshakable. Become unstoppable. And whatever you do, decide. Because in the end, it's not the world that shapes you. It's you. It's not the world that shapes you. It's you.